Is going on YouTube? Welcome to WeSib's West Coast, East Coast siblings, where we break down your favorite movies and TV shows. The new show, The Nevers, on HBO Max by Joss Whedon is shaping up to be a great one. I got so many X-Men vibes here. I got so many like Avengers vibes, obviously. It seemed like steampunk mixed with superheroes, and it was great. So we're going to talk about the first episode, everybody we meet, and sort of the general story that we get. And then we're going to see where it's going to go from here. So before we get started, be sure to hit the subscribe button and click the bell so that you don't miss. And with that, let's dive into it. So as I said, this is a Joss Whedon property. Okay, and I'm not one to shoot the messenger. I know I'm a huge Snyder Cut fan, but this show looks really good. And Joss Whedon is doing this, and it just looks good. So we start off with two characters primarily. We have Amelia and her assistant Lucy. And those are the two that you see right here on the screen in the front right here. And they are kind of superhero hunters. They run an orphanage. They're not hunters like they're trying to hurt these people, but they're trying to find them and protect them. So the show opens up with them stumbling upon a girl named Myrtle. And this Myrtle girl, they think that her family thinks that she's possessed and she's speaking the devil's tongue. Turns out she's just speaking Chinese. She seems to have a bilingual ability, speaking multiple different languages. There was some German, I think, and stuff like that. So the girl Myrtle gets attacked by this group of people who are after her. And basically what they're saying is Amelia and Lucy, they got the tip about the girl Myrtle from somebody called the Beggar King, I believe. It's funny because it sounds like Burger King. I think I'm just going to call him the Burger King. But the Burger King, they think that he may have tipped off more than one party to the location of this special person. They call the special people in this show the Touched. They're like touched and they have these abilities. Now, what you can see in this artwork here, and we're not going to stay on this slide forever. What you can see in the artwork, these little sparkles around here, this alludes to something that actually happened in the episode when what looked like a giant fish ship, I kid you not, it was a starship, but it looked aquatic. It looked like it was from under the sea, came and sprinkled all this fairy dust, and this is what ended up making these people touched. So these are some important characters here before we move on from the slide. We have Horatio, who's the doctor right here. And we have one of the evil henchmen. She's one of the helpers of Melody, who is literally like a Joker character. She's really cool. She's like psycho. She makes her appearance during an opera that Amelia, here, this character, she feels she has to go to. She has these sort of premonitions, and she sees that she's at an opera, and so she's like, okay, we need to go there. And that's where she meets Melody. And when she meets her there, she has these henchmen. One's got like a machine gun for an arm, and the other obviously has these powers here where she can literally spew fire from her hands. All this was stopped, okay, by a character named, because we're introducing the characters here. This is by, what do we have? Did I write it down right? We have Amalie. No. That's not her name. Let's see. Introduction of all these characters. They had some strange names and they were spelled pretty weirdly, I think. But overall, it was a good show. So they went to the opera, and this is where they meet this character, this songbird type character. And she seems to be able, when she sings, there's like a luminance that goes out and touches everyone who's been touched, who's been touched, because they call them the Touched. And so it touches all these different characters, and then at the end of the episode we see everybody who actually ends up having powers. So there's a lady named, if I get it right, Louvre Bigweld or something like that. Not Bigweld, Bigelow. That's her name. And she is the creator and the funder of the Orphanage. And she has hired Amelia here and Lucy to kind of run things. Okay, so Melody's the big Joker type character, and she ends up kidnapping the songbird character, the one who through her voice can locate the Nevers. Obviously, you can see why this would be a super important asset, as everybody is hunting these people who were touched, the Nevers. I'm calling them the Nevers. That's just what the show's called. But the show actually refers to them as the Touched. And these are the people who have power. So Songbird, she's the key to all of it because she can locate them all. and they seem to have various powers. One of my favorite was Primrose. She's like huge, this ginormous girl. Obviously, she would come in handy as like a super strong character. In fact, I would argue she's probably one of the most powerful, low key. Myrtle was okay, but she can just kind of speak different languages, which could be helpful. Of course, I'm not trying to down her there. Horatio he's like a healer type, so he has the ability to heal. And I think he and Amelia had maybe something going on, whether it has happened before or they're falling in love or falling for each other. I guess they always got to have a love story in these. So another thing that happened is the character Amalia is the way her name is spelled. She, I guess, tried to kill herself in the past. She jumped into the docks. She was going to drown herself, and it was at that time that she came in contact with the particles. I'm going to call them particles from that ship that granted all of these people their powers. Okay, so the Bidlow is the name. Bidlow is the family, and Bidlow is the family that owns the orphanage for the special people. Now, Lavinia Bidlow, that's her name. Her brother is Augustus Bidlow, and he's also been touched. We haven't seen his character in terms of his powers, but we did see him. He was talking to the super weird guy, the blonde guy who woke up next to two different people and was like making fun of the maid or whatever. What was his name? We'll find his name. This was a good first episode though. And so we're still kind of finding out people's character names and stuff like that. Joss Whedon did a fantastic job though, and obviously with HBO, you have a huge like budget for all this stuff, so the graphics all looked really good. Another character we had was Declan Orun. Sorry if I'm butchering the names for the first episode, but he is apparently the beggar king, and he says in this episode that he had nothing to do with tipping off a second party for in terms of finding those touched people. So he typically gets the drop on where these people are and what they're able to do. But he says that he didn't tell this second party, and they kind of looked like they had bags over their faces, almost like wet brown paper bags that were kind of like pulpifying. Yeah, because we make up words on this show. Anyway, speaking of Augustus, he was touched as well, and we also see that Madeline, the crazy Joker girl, for those of you who are just joining, she's the one who is she was in an insane asylum from the jump, and so she gets the powers, and then I guess that takes her to another level. She was already crazy, but when she was fighting Amelia in that final scene when they were fighting for the songbird girl, her name is Mary, by the way. When they were fighting for Mary, her eyes started to get red, and I think that it probably increases her strength and ability the more, like when her eyes get red like that, because she was just headbutting Amelia. She got the mess hit out of her face. It was crazy. I was like a duck, but no, overall I thought it was a really good episode. I'm excited for episode 2. So this is going to come on every Sunday night, and obviously if you'd like to see me continue with the show, be sure to drop a like on the video. But I think this is really good as far as superheroes. It's kind of in the 1800s. It's kind of steampunk, kind of Nikola Tesla style with X-Men thrown in there, and of course it's done by Joss Whedon. So the story seems to be good as of right now. We've got Amelia and we've got Lucy searching for these touched people. We don't know anything about this ship and this starship and where it comes from. We don't know its origins whatsoever. We don't know it at all. Maybe Bidlow has some more information. Lavinia Bidlow, who again runs the orphanage for these touched people, maybe she knows more about the origin of the ship. But it seems, I don't know. I guess I couldn't even say it seemed extraterrestrial necessarily. It did come from the star, like it came from the sky. But when you look at kind of the things that Lucy's able to do with her ability to see electricity and see energy, not just electricity, she can see all forms of energy and where they are and where they're going. And it seems like not only can she see it, because she told the people at the opera that she was able to see it, but it seems she's able to manipulate it. Much like Fire Lady over there in the back. Oh, I said I was going to flip these slides. I did get a bunch of pictures for you guys so we could look at them. So obviously, here's a picture of Amelia and Lucy at the opera. This was where Amelia had a premonition, kind of what they called a ripple. she was able to see that they were supposed to be at the opera, and obviously this is where they met Malady. It's funny because it's kind of like Milady, who's the crazy psycho, and Mary as well, who has the ability to sing and then locate people. So then his character is the one who is kind of talking to Augustus Bidlow. He has a connection there, and his motives aren't necessarily clear yet. We're not too sure what his final goal is and what he's working towards, but that'll obviously develop over time. And here we have Primrose, of course, the absolutely ginormous girl, who's low key probably in the top three, four, maybe five most powerful people in the show. One lady, she could like she had like almost Avatar earthbending powers. She put her hand in the soil and made the vegetation sprout, and so that was pretty cool. I mean, there's so many X-Men type powers here. Another picture of not Prim, of Lucy and Amelia here. And then we have this was in the cool opening scene where we kind of got to see some of their tech and some of their powers. So they're not only touched, gifted, super powered, but they also seem to have a fair bit of gear because Lucy, being able to see all forms of energy, she, I guess, is great at inventing and making tech that they were able to use. I remember there was like a flashbang that she threw into the room, and when in this particular scene, this is when she jumped out of that window, and it flew in there and totally disoriented her and stunned her enemies. So here we have, I think this is Bidlow here. So this is Lavinia Bidlow, and she owns and runs the orphanage and has hired Amelia and not Amelia, yeah, Amelia and Lucy to run the whole show. So definitely we're going to see more of her in the next couple of episodes, and her brother Augustus, who has also been touched. Now, we don't know if we're not sure if Bidlow is touched herself. Lavinia Bidlow, there's another picture of him. There's also a murder that happened underground that is being investigated. We had one of the police officers. Let me see if I can get his casting name. He's investigating the entire thing that was going on underground. I think his name is Lord Mason. That's probably not correct. That's what he looks like. Anyway, so yeah, so there's an investigation going on underground. Maybe what I'm thinking is this has something to do with the origins of that ship that came and was able to give all those people the abilities that they have. Here is the Beggar King. We get a picture of him now. This is just on the IMDb page. We have not yet really seen him in this outfit at all. He kind of looked like a bum the first time he met the girls, and now he definitely looks like he's come into some money or something like that. But the Beggar King, like I said, he gets the drop on new touched individuals and tells them where to go and pick them up. Here we have some information about Milady, okay? And this is Augustus right here in the back, in the right, not one of the white coats here, in the black. That's Augustus. So he knows, Augustus Bidlow knows Malady or Milady, whichever one you want to say. And he knew her prior to her seeing and being touched and ending up with the powers. So here we can see that Milady or Malady was in an asylum. So she was psychologically deranged. And obviously we saw as much, but now since she's seen this light, she now has powers. And it seems that her strength, endurance, abilities are enhanced when her eyes get red, as we saw in that fight with Amelia when they were fighting over Mary, the songbird. She's able to sing, and in doing so, she can locate everybody who's been touched. Her voice was actually really cool. It just cut through all the chaos in that opera scene. So that was really dope. Here we have another picture of Amelia and Lucy kind of working in the shop here. Again, Lucy is able to see all forms of energy, and so she kind of hooks them up with all the cool gadgets that they have, as where Amelia kind of takes more of the Batman role. Lucy is kind of the gal in the chair, you know, setting her up with tech and not necessarily intel. They kind of both do that. Another picture of Amelia. I think that's Augustus again. And here we have the songbird, aka Mary, Mary Brighton, and she has the voice that can locate the touched. So with that being said, guys, it's a really good first episode. Looks to be shaping up to be a good season. Joss Whedon looking to make a comeback. I know he's been taking a lot of heat because of Snyder Cut type things in the Justice League. I'm obviously covering that as well. So we have episodes all dealing with what's going on with the DCEU. We've got a ton of shows that we're covering right now and a ton of shows on the way. And we're always taking suggestions as always. So be sure to hit the subscribe button and click the bell so that you don't miss it when it drops. We try to go live right after your favorite TV shows to kind of chat it up. And after the show, you know? Oh, that rhymes. I'm going to start saying that in every episode. Will I? I may forget. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. A ton of content for you to watch. I'll put links down in the description below if you're looking for something next to watch. A good show, Apple TV's C. So we could do a lot of Apple TV stuff, more HBO Max stuff, Netflix stuff, Supergirl stuff, The Flash, all the kind of superhero stuff. And we're covering the latest and breakingest. I was going to say the latest and best and latest and breaking news. So we're covering the greatest. I hope that's not like a word that's like bad. Anyway, I digress. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next one.